I must show you some brilliant spin from today. How to fool voters, reporters too, with nothing but bull. Now, you've got to hand it to Labor's campaign team. Oh, they're good. They're trying to sell a government that's actually given Australians lower living standards, high inflation, $1 trillion debt, and unaffordable housing for the young, which is a tough sell. So what do you do instead? Well, you watch this. A masterclass of spin. Early this morning, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese set the day's news agenda with this post on X. News. Labor is pushing for a real pay rise for around 3 million workers. Good heavens. A pay rise, you say, from Labor? Incredible. But some TV news outlets fell for it, like Channel 9. Prime Minister Albanese pledges pay rise above inflation for low-paid workers under Labor. A pledge, a promise. And Channel 7 ran with that too.
To that big pledge to boost the pay packets of Australia's lowest paid workers. Anthony Albanese courting voters by fighting back against the high cost of living.
Making a new promise to increase the minimum wage from $24.10.
Oh, amazing. What a hero. Albanese promising to pay millions of Australians more money, fighting cost of living with this promise. But wait a minute. With what? It's a promise. With what money? Whose money? How? Folks, it's a con. Albanese did not make any promise to increase wages because he's got no money for that. All that he did was say he would ask someone else, an independent body, Fair Work Australia, to consider in its annual wage review to make bosses pay extra for workers on the minimum wage. And Fair Work Australia might do what he wants, it might not do what he wants. It's independent, it's not Albanese's call at all. He doesn't even know exactly what he'll ask for, as became clear today.
We have never put figures on our submissions. Obviously, they will take into account what the economic circumstances are in this, but it's very clear we want a real wage increase.
See, how can journalists fall for this stuff? You know, it's easy for Albanese making these promises. He could ask for whatever he likes from Fair Work Australia. You know, why not make it, oh, look, $100 a week more? Because it's not really his call. And it's not him who'd have to pay for it anyway. It's business, particularly small business, who must pay. We'll have to find the cash for the wage rises that Albanese has supposedly pledged, supposedly promised, and they then have to somehow still not go broke. Albanese doesn't need to do anything at all to make this happen. He's just trying to look like the hero of the working class, unlike that terrible Peter Dutton, although Dutton quickly responded by making much the same empty call, while also pointing out that actually what was really hurting the poor was rising costs.
We're without economic advice from Treasury and from Finance, but our position is that we want higher wages and we want to make sure that we've got downward pressure on costs.
Now, I point this out not just to show you how empty and tricky the Labor campaign is and how gullible the media is. I mean, talk about Albanese last week, another stunt, blaming supermarkets for higher prices, promising to ban price gouging by them. Another cheap and meaningless promise, because 8 inquiries so far have not been able to find any examples of this supposed price gouging by the supermarkets. Not even the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission report just a couple of weeks ago. And that, of course, is by the head of Ritchie's IGA Supermarkets. There's a great one in the next town from here that I always go to. That's why the head of the Ritchie's is saying Albanese's price gouging claims are a slur against supermarkets like his. He said to label the supermarkets as price gougers and continue with that language after that ACCC report is inflaming the stress and angst against our industry and is not the truth. It makes people think we are ripping them off. But the only rip-off is of voters and is of course, people at the shops who find the prices rising. They should actually be blaming the Albanese government for that, for spending too much and making inflation worse. Which brings me to the real issue here. The Albanese government's pitch is actually all about how to cut a shrinking pie. You know, like here, have an electricity handout, paid by your own taxes, because Labor has made power prices too expensive. Have a rental subsidy, because Labor has actually imported 1 million immigrants and made housing too unaffordable. And now, of course, we'll ask someone else to force bosses to pay you more to tackle the cost of living that we can't handle. What Labor's campaign is not about is how to make a bigger pie, how to make Australia more productive, how to help Australian businesses get cracking, how to attract more investment, how to unlock more supplies of the coal and gas and uranium that we need. No, Labor's plan is for low growth and high taxes and for a weaker Australia. We deserve better. We certainly deserve better than this spin.